Good afternoon, everybody. On the occasion of World Mental Health Day, we are here celebrating with all our energy, all our vigor, and we are very happy to have Ayushi Gaur ma'am with us. She is the assistant professor in Amity University, Lucknow, and she is a clinical psychologist. Ma'am has working experience in many rehab centers and in the addiction units. Ma'am, welcome to you, and welcome to all our live viewers who are with us. I would like to tell everyone, please engage with us, listen to our session, engage with us, and we'll be taking up questions accordingly. So today we are going to discuss on a very important topic and a burning issue, you can say, that is the mobile phone and internet addiction. So, as we know, addiction is no joke, and it is very real and serious in nature. Ma'am, I would like to tell you, I would like you to tell us that the facts and figures about addiction and how important it is.
Sure. First of all, I would like to thank to Anuja for giving such a beautiful introduction about myself, and I congratulate you for the work that you are doing. Yes, you are very right in saying this, that addiction holds a great number here, because nowadays we can see that addiction is not just it has not just become a habit of people. They are just using the mobile phones. Rather, it has created some kind of an obsession, some kind of a compulsive behavior is happening with people. And if I talk about the facts and findings of it, then yes, mainly in the newspapers, we always get to see that nowadays, parents give their mobile phones to their children. So, mobile is somewhere acting as a babysitter there. So, which is taking care of the child when the parents are not there. And if you go about a worldwide, finding about how many people are using the mobile phones, then yes, many of the mobile phone users are, just continuously swapping up, unlocking it 63 times in a day. And then there are some 70 plus percentage of people who just cannot stay without keeping their mobile phones besides them while they sleep. So this is something which is a big concern, because if you see the previous decade, so at that time we were not having those telephones and those mobile phones so often, but still people were following a healthy lifestyle. But considering these numbers, like these 70% not using, not keeping it besides their bed, and then some 30% of users, they are not just switching off their mobiles. So this is a concern for us to know that why these people are getting so anxious if they just keep their mobile phones aside when they sleep, or what is wrong if they could just save some battery by switching it off. So this anxiety, I think, needs to be addressed, and we as a clinician, it's a challenge for us to understand that exactly what is making them so compulsive to just make them not use it. So I think numbers are growing, and we need to keep an eye on that and just plan something for them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Also, like as we know, mobile phones are very indispensable tools. Like we cannot imagine, probably. Yes, ma'am.
No, nothing. You carry on, please.
Okay, sure, ma'am. So, as I was saying, that mobile phones are indispensable tools in our life. Typically, in such a pandemic, like everything is digital, so we all are actually under high risk of getting addicted. Can you please, ma'am, tell us some way about, I mean, the target population of this
Yes.
addiction?
Yes, of course. You are right that since nowadays we are seeing that if you consider this time of pandemic, everybody is there on their mobile phones. But specifically before that also, like people of specifically the teenagers, if I talk about, if the college students, if I talk about university students, they are more vulnerable getting this kind of addiction. And it is not just the fact that we are just talking or we are just watching. This has been scientifically being being evident in the researches also, because last year only there was a research done in JNU, and which gave us 50% of college or university going students who are continuously like they were spending some 1800 hours in a year on this particular smartphones and this mobile phones. And then if I talk about the teenagers or the adolescents, we can see them that their concept of play has somewhere changed, because they are more involved into some video games and all, and they are putting their time more on concentrating more on those games which are just they are just laying back and just playing there. Like children at their age, they should be involved in some outdoor activities, but they are not. And I was really surprised to read one news, and that was just 3 months back in July. And there was a boy who was a teenager, some 13 years old, and he just spent some 16 lakhs of rupees in that PUBG game. So this is something which is a little unexpected and little very shocking, that the person or children are getting so much obsessed by it, that in order to complete that desire or satisfaction to play that particular game, they are crossing the limits, despite knowing that what adversities would it hold, and what could be the repercussions and consequences of. And this is as you see, like what I have observed in these researches, like up to 30 years of age, you will see the numbers going up. And after people who are suppose 35 plus or so, they are not very much engaged, but yes, they are also facing certain difficulties here, because they are facing difficulties in managing their work, their attention difficulties. So this is catering to basically more to the adolescents and teenagers. And obviously, if we talk about the old age population, so many of them are not really aware of it, that what are these smartphones and how to use them. So yes, they are somewhere a little back headed there. But then yes, our children, the teenagers, they are the most vulnerable ones who are into this zone of addiction, that we can see this.
Okay, ma'am, absolutely. It's really an alarming topic, and it's really heartbreaking to know that we have to control ourselves. Typically, the teenagers who are investing so much of time, money, everything before this mobile phones and internet. So my next question would be, ma'am, like addictions. In specific, if I say in general, addictions are very negative in nature, and specifically mobile phone addictions is a very common addiction that we all are facing, right? So
Right.
they carry very severe penalty along every addiction, and so I believe mobile phone addictions too. Like, if you please enhance on this topic the severe comorbid conditions or disorders which can result from this, so that our speakers who are hearing may get alarmed from this issue.
Yes, of course. If you talk about addiction, then it is a penalty, because you see that addiction is something which we need to understand as it is a vicious circle, where the person is really wanting that particular substance, and till the time that substance or till that time that particular thing is not achieved, the desire for that continues. And whenever the substance or whenever that particular thing is absent, there starts the craving for that person. So basically, when we are talking about this addiction, we are categorizing into some two domains. Like, one could be the substance, that is people are taking, like alcohol and opioids and all, and second is this behavioral problems with the addiction of these mobile phones and all. So considering this viewpoint, there are certain comorbid conditions, because if we see that it's not just the psychological component that is involved here, there are some physical difficulties also which are playing a role in the physical health of these teenagers and the adolescents or the adults. Because if you see that the normal development of a child will not take place if you are making him engaged in using the mobile phone or playing the games or playing some video games. So there comes a little delay in the developmental aspect of the child. Because if you talk about his cognition, then yes, of course, there'll be little delay in the capacity of what he's accommodating. Then yes, we can say the social and emotional developments that a child has to, which a normal child, takes place, that is without addiction or without these mobile phones, that doesn't happen. And then if you talk about those physical difficulties, you have a lot of neck pain, stiffness in the neck, then your wrists pain, because all the day long you're just holding the mobile phone or holding the tablets and other gadgets which are coming up, and they are just focusing the entire thing. It's also creating a problem in the vision. There's a lot of there have been a lot of complaints in the past few months, when we can see this pandemic time when people are working from home. They have found that there has been a lot of difficulties. People are going to the ophthalmologist for the treatment of their eyes, and these are all these physical difficulties which are bothering the people. But if I talk about the psychological perspectives, then yes, if you go through the neuroimaging studies, you'll find that there are certain structural and functional changes also in the brain. They reduce your attention capacities, your decision making, your problem solving abilities. Then yes, of course, if you are completely involved into some kind of an activity daily, your sleep patterns definitely will be delayed. Because as we have seen that in the findings, that more than 70% of people keep their phones besides them and sleep. So obviously they are putting their data packages and Wi-Fi on, and whenever a notification comes, they just have to see it, because there's some kind of an anxiety that is that is not making them resist it, and they are just browsing their phone, browsing their chats, in order, might be they think that they shouldn't miss out on any information, or they shouldn't miss out on any kind of information that relates to them, the social media. They are so much sometimes so keen to understand this social world, that they are just into it. So definitely their sleep patterns are getting disturbed. They are not getting the appropriate amount of sleep that they should get. And then yes, if we talk about the adults, then yes, their interpersonal relationships, this is one of the most booming problems, if I talk about that, because when we as clinicians, when we see cases, we definitely find that this is one of the important drawbacks. We can say that the young couple or the university students, they tell us that they feel sometimes lonely, they don't have friends to talk to. So despite they are sitting with their friends, if 5 or 6 friends are sitting together, but still everybody is continuing with their sharing with their WhatsApp images or Insta posts and Twitter, and all those things are going on. So actually what is happening, the feeling of loneliness is coming because they are just sharing these materialistic things on the social media. They are not sharing their thoughts, they are not sharing their feelings, emotions, they are not sharing the day, how it goes. Then definitely this component of loneliness comes. And yes, if this continues, then there are problems like you can see that depression will pop up immediately. And then the other conditions and anxiety that we usually see, that sometimes people also have some kind of panic attacks, and they are so much concerned about it. Many a times it happens, people get very upset at, okay, I missed out on posting this particular thing on Instagram, and then their entire mood gets spoiled. And then there are a lot of mood swings also which people have. So all this is because of this one kind of addiction, one kind of thought that is always bothering them, that they have to post it, they have to use it, because if they don't do it, then something which is bad will be, they start anticipating in future. So these are all those comorbid conditions which are very highlighting, or they are in the highlights, because nowadays we are if you find the crux of the university students, then it is somewhere this addiction that is making them feel lonely. And then there develops a sense of low self-esteem and all those in their self-concept, and then they start developing a lot of things. There are a lot of things in their entire functioning, and their well-being gets hampered. So this is something which is very serious, and people are really paying a lot on this, just because of this one thing that needs to be understood, that this addiction or this vicious cycle needs to be broken. It can only be done if we as as mental health professionals and people in the family members, the parents can just play a part in this. So I think we can then think about it, that maybe we might help in modifying these comorbid conditions that are going on, and maybe you can help in lessening the symptoms that are persisting.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure everyone who is watching and listening us would get valuable information about this and get alarmed about this and learn these conditions and disorders, and some may also try to get help also. So, ma'am, you have worked in de-addiction units and you have experiences of people who were severely addicted, and you have faced like them, and you have also treated them. So can you just tell us how to get de-addicted, how to help a person who is already addicted, very much addicted towards this social media or internet or mobile phone using? How to manage such cases?
Right. That's the the main part that we have to deal with, and it is sometimes very challenging for us, because it is very difficult to make the people work towards contemplating that yes, this is a thing which is bothering us and this needs to be worked out. Because you see, when we talk about addiction, this is something people are getting satisfied with all those pleasure that they seek when they are using the particular gadgets or those tablets and all. So I think that if we need to manage with these cases, in terms of, we talk about the childhood or the adolescent population, the one thing that goes with them is the parenting pattern that is going on. We need to have a parent management training program which would guide the parents of these adolescents and these teenagers, that what exactly should be done with them, that makes them use this mobile phone or the smartphone or any other tabloid a little less. Because what happens is that children usually they follow what their parents or other family members do in the family. So if the child is seeing the parent continuously using the phone, or when their parents are back home, nowadays usually both the parents are working, so when they're back home, still they are on their phone, and still they are responding to the chat, still they are responding to the relatives or talking on phone. So the child is somewhere observing this kind of a behavior, that okay, this is one thing which is very important and which should be continued. So this particular observational learning in these children from the childhood, when they start seeing their parents doing this, I think this needs to be curtailed a little. Parents need to understand this perspective, that we should create some kind of contingency or some kinds of rules in a family. Like every family has some kinds of rules which need to be followed. So I think now is the time that they should also include this particular rule, that there should be a minimum fixed period, that okay, this would be the time when we are we are going to have some alternatives, despite rather than using or talking on the phone, or rather than being on Snapchat and all those FaceTime. We will devote this time with our family members. We'll sit together, and we will talk about how our day went, and how were the things that what made our day and what spoiled our day. I think we should start conversing more, because when we don't talk to our children, when we don't talk to these kids, what happens is that they also get this extra liberty, that okay, there's no check on us, and we can continue doing and continue using the cell phones, and there are a lot of things that they take advantage of. So I think this parent management training needs to be inculcated, and specific techniques should be taught to the parents, because they can engage their children into some sitting at home and just it would be better if the parents, for some time they take their child out for some outing. They can take some games, like maybe it could be basketball, it could be badminton, it could be any game which involves some physical activities. Because you see what happens when these children are continuously using these mobile phones and all these things. What happens is that they are also putting up their weight, the BMI and all those are increased by, because they are just sitting. So we need to curtail this, and this will also help them in developing, or help them in their body will release those happy hormones. We've heard about those neurotransmitters. So if we are doing some kind of physical activity, then that releases some happy hormones in our body, and that naturally makes us feel good. So this part of loneliness, and this part of boredom, fatigue, all this will be dealt if we start inculcating these some kind of physical activities that needs to be taken into account. And I think if we start, giving them some alternatives, or start contracting with them that, okay, this is the time when nobody is using the cell phone. And if you continue doing this, then okay, by the end of this week, we will be planning something for you. So this check needs to be made. This monitoring needs to be done. And this behavioral monitoring, this is also applicable for the adults also. The adults also needs to understand that, okay, if you are working for 8 hours in your office or 9 hours in your office, then make it a point that when you are back home, you're just keeping your phone aside. Maybe you can put it on airplane mode or whatever it is, or maybe not, you can just put it aside, and start into some those recreational activities, some kind of activity which is soothing and healthy for you, which is good for your body also, for your mind also. I know initially it is very difficult, when we talk about this population which is addicted, but then these are little behavioral management tips which will initially help them in understanding and breaking this vicious chain, breaking this thick cycle of addiction. So I think if we change this lifestyle pattern, things will be better. So but then this needs to start now, and parents can start themselves at home, and the adults can start themselves by monitoring themselves. And I think that if it is done, then definitely they'll see good results in their interpersonal relationships also, and the psychological problems that they are addressing. So I think this should be started now.
Ma'am, I would like to say that I have seen many kids, like very small, class 1, you can say class KG,
Mhm.
they'll teach you the usage of smartphones, like they are teaching
Yes,
us,
yes,
and they are
yes,
so smart, like they'll tell you, ma'am, I've sent you in WhatsApp, and by the time you open the
yeah,
WhatsApp,
yeah,
you will already see that everything is there already sent.
yes,
So I
yes,
will
yes,
just say, ma'am, I've just noticed this point during this pandemic situation. We can't really help. Everything is digital, and there are many complaints and many issues, like people are facing eye troubles, their eyes are paining, they can't sleep, and the children also, when they are exposed, they are accessing to your accounts. They are so
right,
developing some points that, okay, I will have my own account, I will enter into my mom's account or dad's account and see. So regarding this, we have a very interesting question, that how can
yes,
parents balance children's screen exposure for educational purposes from other unnecessary screen exposure in this period of e-learning? I have this question, which is like,
okay,
during the educational purpose only, many kids, like even I am a student, I am spending a lot of time in digital media. My eyes get tired, my sleeping pattern, all you have mentioned, is completely disrupted to some extent. So I
right.
would just tell you, I would ask you, ma'am, if you could tell that how can parents actually balance this during the educational time, the exposure to the screen, and the other times just like deviating the
Right,
child something productive.
right. Right. That's a really nice question, and nowadays parents are facing this particular issue because the classes and all are going through home, and they have to sit online. But then, yes, we also need to appreciate here a little effort done by schools, that they are like earlier the schools used to be, those 6 hours school or 7 hours school, but now they have reduced that time limit, that okay, in the entire day we'll just keep you 3 hours or whatever, 4 hours for our classes. So I think if we need to understand this difference in between the good usage of technology and the excessive use of technology, then we can just tell these parents that okay, if your child is there in the classroom for say about 3 hours or 3.5 hours, then the rest of the time you need to prepare certain checklists or certain schedule for your child, that okay, you have already spent 3 hours or 3.5 hours for in yes, this screen time has been given to you. Now whatever time is left, you can play with your siblings, you can go for some cycling, maybe in your own park or somewhere, yes, with due protections that are required. And then yes, you can help in some household activities, because you see nowadays parents are so much stuck with so much of household work and all. So this will in turn give this opportunity to the children also to take some responsibilities at home also. You can engage them in certain activities, that okay, you can help me in some household chores, you can just fill up the bottles and keep them, like certain small tasks that are there available at home. You can provide them with some kinds of puzzle games, you can give them some kinds of activities which will improve their executive functionings. So all these things you can provide them, and this will enhance their working memory, their working capacity, their executive memory, and all these things will be enhanced if you start giving them these particular alternatives. Because you see, children cannot sit at a place, you cannot make them sit, keep okay, now 3 hours are done, now the child is troubling you, so you are left with nothing, and you just have to hand over the phone to that child or whatever gadget it is. But no, you have to plan certain, you have to do some kind of a smart kind of a parenting style you need to adopt, like which was followed earlier also. Nowadays we, what we are doing is that we just give the kids the phone, but then you can provide them with those alternatives, give them those puzzles, let them play with it, let them understand how play was initially. No, nowadays children don't play. I don't know how much cricket or how much badminton they are playing with the neighborhood children. So I think, if it is considering the today's scenario, you not play within a group, but then individually there are a lot of games which can be included. Like you can give them some Scrabble, give them some kind of these activities which will help them enjoy also, and then learn also something.
Right, ma'am. Absolutely true. So, as Madam Speaker has already mentioned, that engaging in productive activities, if not outside, within our homes, engaging ourselves in household chores and all kind of work which will help us enhance our physical and psychological being, rather than disrupting, creating a problem, and also managing the digital media simultaneously, because that's how the world demands today. So I would see that if there are some questions here. People are very happy with our topic. They are enjoying. It's really nice to see that people, this is a very, very important issue. Typically now, when we all are exposed and we all are very much facing this issue. Ma'am, would you like to say something about this thing? Any case you have faced or anything you want to share with us?
I think since we've talked a lot about this addiction, and then this pandemic has added on to it, I think this is the condition in which we were already challenged with one thing, that how can we handle this particular addiction. But with the advent of this COVID-19, things have started worsening also. But then I'm happy that people are trying to come out, and they are trying trying, asking for help, that how can we, move away from these situations. They are aware about that, yes, this is something which is maladaptive. And I think this kind of awareness is really very helpful, because if you are aware that, okay, this is something called maladaptive, you can definitely seek help and, start those adaptive changes in your behavioral cycle that is going on. So I think, yes, people are doing good, and it is obviously, we are always there ready to help anyone who needs or wants to seek help from us. You're always welcome for that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So we
Thank
have
you.
indeed had a very important and a lively session, because many people had been benefited from here, I believe, and from the facts and figures to the target population, how addiction can cause comorbid conditions, severe disorders, to how we can effectively manage it in normal course as well as during this COVID-19 time. We have learned a lot of things from you, ma'am. Thanks for enhancing and enriching us with all such beautiful tips and topics.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you,
Uh,
Anuja. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to welcome our next speakers, Preeti ma'am and Adrita. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anuja. Thank you.